Is this different? I changed where the chat window is at in YouTube. Now that it's here, I can't imagine exactly where it's supposed to be, but I know that this is not the place it was last week. And every week that I have come here and clicked it for the recent past. Nonetheless, we are here. We are almost ready to actually start. Just need to wrangle a couple of more windows here. Oh, Black Kitty in the backyard. He's looking for a fight, probably. Black Kitty's always looking for a fight. How's it going, Bear? Almost ready. Nice to see you this morning. All right, so good morning to everyone. There we go. Nope, wrong one. The wrong one. All right. Do I have a browser? I don't think I have a browser yet. Let's get a browser window. Welcome and good morning. Thanks for tuning in. My name is Tim. I go by Foamy Guy on GitHub and Discord, as well as several other places online. Typically, I stream at this time around 10 a.m. Central Time on Saturdays, and I usually work on something related to CircuitPython. It's not always the same thing. It's not always in the same part of the project. The CircuitPython project has, a relatively large ecosystem of things around it that all work together in various different ways. So we're not always working on the exact same thing. Sometimes it's in the core, the super lowest level stuff, which is also what Scott tends to work on the deep dive, which is the Friday night streams. I am usually a little higher level than that, although we do dive into the core on occasion. Usually we're either in library land or project land or infrastructure and kind of related projects and things like Circup, which is where I'll be starting today. If you want to learn more about CircuitPython, if you don't know about it, you can go to the website here, circuitpython.org. There is some information there. You can also join us on the Discord. Where we are starting this morning is on a library, but not a CircuitPython library that's used on devices. This is a CircuitPython library that's used on your computer to interact with CircuitPython devices, to install libraries on them. Good morning to C. Grover as well. How's it going, my friend? Working on helper class to wrangle the various Wi-Fi NTP logging code I have across all boards. Love listening to you while working. Nice. Yeah, I can definitely relate to that. There's folks I can appreciate throwing on the side or whatever in the background while you're working along, so that's cool. What I am working on specifically in Circup, from Jinja. Oh, this says January. Let me take a peek at this. Sometimes I'm like a little puppy in terms of something catching my eye. Just updating. It wants to update Jinja from 2. Wait, what does Circup use Jinja for? Update mark safe? Okay, we get out of here. This is off track. I wonder though, I can't imagine, like off the top of my head, I cannot think of anything that Circup would use Jinja for. Jinja is like a template rendering thing. Kind of most typically in my world, at least, the thing I know it for most is use with web frameworks, HTTP frameworks. This is where we're at though. Circup adds support for WebWorkflow. I should mention before I even do get started today, we are standing on the shoulders of giants as usual. Vladak, hug report to Vladak, is who started this out a while back. I have done some work on it since then, and Scott has been reviewing and leaving feedback on here. So we are trying to handle the last bits of feedback, which is the one that I was putting off because I think it will be the most difficult. So I figured it would also be a good one to stream because I can also talk through it. That's one of the nice things about having the stream on as well, is being able to talk through problems and sometimes get help from folks. The specific thing that we're trying to do, though, is get the logic around differences between the two different backends. So Circup, as it exists today, in the released one, only supports one workflow, which would be USB. What's the name of this branch, just to make sure? Vladak WebWorkflow, okay. Should be just this one. With this adding of the WebWorkflow, it was kind of a major refactor to have this concept of backends, and then each backend can, like, there can be multiple types of backends. So there's like one superclass, and then there's a web backend and a USB backend, or storage, or whatever it's called, disk backend. Theoretically, there could be Bluetooth, any other potential backends. I don't know that there are any more than that, but. And then, just to get my own head back around this, this is in the module class, I believe, which is one of the parts of this refactoring effort that was most difficult. You know what's, let's not phrase it that way. Let's not call it, what's annoying. But let's say, what GitHub could do better is, I'm like clicking a link that's going to a specific part of code in a specific file, and then it's taking me to a page and being like, oh yeah, that file's too big. We're not going to show you that by default. Like, that's literally the thing I clicked to come here. Like, please render it on the page. Thank you. So module is like a weird bit of this refactor, because module represents an individual library that gets installed on a device, but also module effectively kind of like was the backend originally. Module, the way this code worked in the old version / the currently released version, is module would get created, initialized to kind of like represent a certain library, and then it would call module.install. That would install that module on your device. With the backends in the mix, that whole paradigm kind of gets turned around a bit, because kind of the backend, you need to call like backend.install, and then you need to tell it what module. And so I found that module to be particularly difficult in this refactor. 269, let's see. So this is in the module constructor, right? Init, yeah. And we have this logic, which is what we're trying to get rid of effectively. Is that true? No. Well, no. Okay, yeah, this is HTTP, yeah. Although maybe that should be. I think so. Part of a little bit of our struggle here as well is going to be the fact that this the code has changed a bit since this was left specifically. How's it going, Paul SK, as well as Joni Bergdahl? Good morning, and good day to both of you. Nice to see you both, my friends. I think. Is this? Yeah, I think that. I think the old version of this code only checked one of these, and now the new version checks two. I don't know if/how, if it's possible or easy or supported or what. I don't know how you could do WebWorkflow under HTTPS. That would be kind of cool in some ways. but I think this is the code. And so basically we're trying to get this out of here, because this is basically saying if this is basically deciding whether or not it's WebWorkflow or not, right? This if statement basically is saying true or false whether we are in WebWorkflow or not. But we don't want that because we're already passing the backend. So at a minimum, we should not be checking like the URL string. We should be checking like maybe the backend type. But even better than that would be to figure out like what this is doing and try to do it in the backend instead. So we already have path. Basically, this is setting name and file. And then in the case of this one, it's actually setting path as well. I guess it needs to add a slash or something. Get rid of a slash, one of the two. Backend could parse the URI and not pass the netlock stuff. Then it becomes a file-like item. Yeah, I don't necessarily know exactly what you mean. So the state is the name and the file properties on the module. So the backend can't just set those things because they are contained inside the module, not the backend. We could, I guess, but this is when the module gets initiated. We could maybe have like backend.initialize module. Then you pass in a module class, and then it, inside the backend, it does this stuff. Let's print some stuff out. I'm a bit of a trying to like look at this and imagine what it's doing. Let's get some of this printed out though. So my hypothesis is this will be HTTP when it's in WebWorkflow mode, and it will be, I guess, probably file : / when it's in USB disk mode. Already path fragment. Backend would only pass in the path to the module class. But the backend is not passing stuff to the module class. It's the other way around, kind of. The module class gets instantiated and then gets passed into the backend, I think. Although, honestly, it's been a while since I used this code, frankly. So find modules. This is a top-level function. This is not inside of a backend. It accepts a backend, and it's going to go and it's going to find all of the libraries that are on the board, and it's going to build a module instance for each one of them. Which ultimately may or may not get used for something else. But this same module, I'm pretty sure, gets created when we install something too. Maybe it doesn't actually though, because this is all test Circup. There's only one place where this is done in here, and it's find modules. Does it then later install from there? Result? Where does the result of this go? freeze. Is that the only place? No. List CLI. List all out-of-date modules. Update. Update will update all the modules, so that's going to loop through all of them. And filter it down by out of date, which actually implies that... Oh, never mind. I was thinking that said out of date, but I must have misread. So then here, so we do, so yeah, that module inside of update is the only place actually where the module gets installed from, it turns out, I think. Module gets built into a list of all the modules that are installed, checks if they're out of date, it checks a bunch of other stuff here. And then finally, if everything checks out good, it will call backend.update and it will pass in the module, which will install the new version of it, basically. Module would only reference the path of what the backend sends. Yeah, I'm not sure. Frankly, like, I did a bunch of this refactor and I don't even understand a lot of it. Like, I'm really kind of lost in my own refactor here, so I don't necessarily understand what you're suggesting, but frankly, it's because I'm super lost in this whole refactor, if I'm brutally honest about it. Where do we need to get back to, though? We need to get back to module init. So let's get that printing. I think I do have this on auto running or whatever, pip install -e, which means that I think it will just take effect without me doing anything else. Like, I think this version should just be the version. It does have host and password, so that's a good sign. So let's see. We saw that that's update is actually the place where that gets used. I don't really want to update like everything. How much stuff is on my device? I have a lot of stuff. What if we made a fake lib folder and basically did like only update a couple of things? Yeah. I definitely took a bit too long of a break before since working on this, I should say, but even back then my understanding of this was kind of tenuous at best. I'm gonna F6? Nope, that's Shift F6, is it? No, Shift X6, that's inside PyCharm. We want F2. No, F2 doesn't work either. Really? I swear F2 is rename. Oh, it is, but it's not working. I think it's because we have writable mode, right? Oops, not boot out. I want boot py. Yeah. So that is mounted in writable so that WebWorkflow is the one that can write. I wish that Circup had like install a specific version. We could install a specific version through Circup, then we could like install an old one and then run Circup update. But I don't think it works that way. I don't want to upload a folder, I just want to create one. Although, If I upload a folder, then I can use I can put an old library inside of it, so maybe that is actually kind of convenient. Nope, no, we don't want file, we want directory, lib, and then let's put an old version of something in here. Like, it's the easiest way to get that is just grab it from the repo, I think, right? Should choose something that doesn't have as many dependencies, maybe. Oops. Okay, so if we grab, we grab just one of these older ones, and get 2 back. I'm gonna get the Python version 2. I don't think it matters really. I have a new PR in PyCamera if anyone's interested in the stuff I was doing with the overlays and things, with overlay scale. So if you want to be able to scale your frames up or down, or if you want to be able to scale your stickers up or down, the newest version of that is now supported. It's pretty cool, I think. I think text is one of the things I'm eyeballing next. It'd be cool if you could split some text into your photo, which actually reminds me as well, I never did publish in any meaningful way the outlined label that I started a while back, which would be pretty convenient for splitting into a photo, because your photo, it's like, you know, unless you're taking a photo of something kind of flat colored, then your text gets all weird looking. But if you can put a border on it that's either white or black, then it's usually a lot more legible. Oops, wrong folder. All right, so I just want to do lib, I think, right? Yeah, lib, upload. Okay, that's weird. Why does it say that? I don't think I've ever seen that warning before. Is that a browser warning or a CircuitPython web workflow warning? You know what's interesting? I was doing some stuff with NTP, and it made it so that my times are actually pretty much correct now, which is crazy. Used to do a lot of these like 1999s. All right, so Circup update or list. Let's try list, because that calls find modules, which creates them. Maybe that will let us even run a few times. So Circup, we need to say host. I usually use the IP. I guess you could technically use this too, maybe. I don't think we want that part though. Don't tell anybody. I don't. That's weird. Why does it have that? Also, it seems very odd that it says right here, version 1.4 of Circup is out. Oh, that says Circup. Oh, okay. Okay, so that's our URL that got parsed. That's our scheme. And actually, we failed because it says all of them are up to date. Okay, so we're actually maybe are going to use that Python version and I can just cheat the version. I think the problem is that the versions don't get put into these ones properly, maybe. Go to downloads. Yeah. One of these days when I am done with kind of the bulk of my WebWorkflow shenanigans, I will change it on all of my devices. Start using a different one. Until then, I've been doing WebWorkflow stuff a fair amount, so I don't want to like change it and then just change it every time I stream or something. I think the deal is that that's like making it be weird. I think I'm just going to fill that in with something less than current one. I don't know if I need the auto part though. Okay, delete lib again. Well, not delete it. We renamed it last time, but this time we want to delete it. How's it going, Tithe? And DJ Devin? Nice to see you. Let's go upload. Can I go inside this? It's not going to let me go inside of it. Okay. Let's try that again. And it was, yeah, it is live or whatever because it is printing our stuff, so that's good. What? How does that make any sense? Maybe that's not released yet or something? Who knew it would be so hard to just get an old library on my device? I mean, what do? I don't know why it's not recognizing it. Copied the wrong one or something, because this is not... It should be pi now, not mpy. So somehow I messed that up. So I should start closing these. Is this actually edited? Yes, okay. Let's close that. Copy this. Put that there. This is definitely Python files. Do this again, delete this. Upload. I'm gonna go inside. Okay, yeah, that's definitely py files. So lib. Actually want like lib and then upload. Grab an old bundle. Well, you gotta make sure that the bundle, you gotta make sure you get a bundle from, you gotta make sure you use a library that got updated since the bundle that you grabbed. Basically, since not every library changes every time the bundle changes. Only, in fact, a minimum of one library is what has to change, but there could be more than one as well. I mean, would it not be init? It doesn't. How's it going, Dexter? Are these like a date? That might have been too far. This doesn't have. Does it matter? Let me just do the Python one. Way I can edit it if I need to. I mean, not like it matters anyway, right? Because I just tried that and it didn't do anything useful. I'm going to take requests. A single file. Okay. Again. I could just upload the file, I guess. Or is this an attempt at Circup installing older versions? No, I don't. I mean, that would be nice functionality to have, but I want to get WebWorkflow done and like get it merged, honestly. I don't want to add any more different features to it. So I'm not looking for more features at this time necessarily, although install a specific version would be a nice feature. I definitely will say that would be a nice feature to have, especially for testing this, but also just in general. I don't know. It seems like it just doesn't work, I guess. That does not make any sense. My immediate response to that is unplug, replug. I believe all that is the stuff that was in the lib file that we renamed to not lib. I have no idea why it would have seen all of that. Online to this morning, updating Fitbit projects from 8.2.2 to 8.2.10 because all the nice updates since 2.2 runs much better. Added some new features, might fall asleep. Yeah, you gotta get some rest for sure. Yeah, I don't know. This just seems like it doesn't work, which is really frustrating since it's kind of unrelated to what I want to try to fix and try to get this merged. I don't know how to test what I'm trying to do if I can't like actually get this to notice that this thing is old and needs update. Okay. A minute ago, I ran it on the disk workflow, and it listed all the stuff that was in not lib. And it listed a bunch of the stuff that supposedly says it needs updates, so let's go get one of those and use it. I have no idea why these aren't working. That seems awfully broken to me, but I really don't want to try to troubleshoot it in the middle of trying to make the web workflow work. I really want to just make the web workflow work and try to get it merged. Like, a really large amount of effort has gone into it. I would really love to see it be just widely available for everyone to use. I don't... It does not feel like this is a related problem since I just tested the released one with the same effects. Getting a little bit lost here. I want to get off of this. Okay, we go back to the not like this, save that, reset so that I can just copy paste files. This will make the iterating through this a lot faster too, which is good because the speed at which we were being able to attempt that was starting to get to me a little bit. said bin ASCII was one of them for sure. Copy that, put it there. Close this. Although, I don't know how it gets, oh, there's a version, I guess. Okay. Circup list. Okay. I don't know. Where did we start this? So scheme is empty when it is not WebWorkflow. When it is disk workflow, scheme is empty. So that if statement where we started way back when, effectively that if statement is saying, is it WebWorkflow or not? So the next thing I want to do is see what this gets, like, see what it does. Whoops. Let me put labels on these. Whoops. Nope. Okay. Say a picture is worth 1,000 words. This shows why Fitbit has been a very important project to me. All right, the links. Nice. Nice. I like the way you read all this up. It was like everything somebody else would need if they wanted to kind of like replicate all of this, which is really cool. Even battery, that's interesting. I didn't know they could feed the battery out like that. That's really cool. Name and file, and then we want to do this in both. So let's do this here too. So like, what is that? So like, I'm trying to figure out what is the actual difference. Like, does this need actually different logic, or could this just be the same logic? I mean, I'm sure it probably can't just be the same, but why can't it be the same? Okay, so Circup, let's just say list again. Okay, so now that says file is none and name is bin ASCII. Which stands to reason because this sets it to none. So web workflow, no. Disk workflow folder, directory, disk workflow directory, file is none, name is the name of the directory. Let me try the same exact thing, but I don't know the host. It's weird that it thought it was -H. Okay. So file is not none. Does that file exist? I don't think that file exists. Not even a real file, is it? Because it should be... Oh. Wait. That was not a directory one. That was a single file one. My goodness. Okay. This is non-directory. This is single file. And it looks broken. File is none. Name is the name of the file, but lacking .mpy. I mean, did that actually go inside of here? Directory. All right. Well, aside from needing to be refactored, it also seems to be just wrong. Switch back to the other, put up the chat. Don't we not want to use URL? Don't we not want to use os.basename if a URL? Probably. Yeah, probably. I don't know. I don't see any os.basenames. It's probably why it's referencing only the file name. It will rebuild the path later. I mean, if that problem, whatever, like, the truth is I don't understand what you're asking, frankly. If that problem is a problem that won't work correctly in Windows, then that definitely can't be the problem that I'm having, though, because I'm not in Windows. So either that problem is not the problem, or that problem affects more than just Windows. We'll rebuild the path later. That's probably why referencing only the file name, it will rebuild the path later. 297 says... I already messed it up, though, because I've added a bunch of prints. Base name. Path. I don't know. I don't even really know what base name does. Because it's only using file name. Because it's only using file name when the library path is used. That solves the // stuff. It breaks Windows paths. Okay, so what came into us? Name was bin ASCII. Path was, I mean, kind of an invalid path, frankly. So that's even before we get down to where we have this part. So I'm kind of am thinking that we might have a problem even before we land back there. Because I feel like path should probably be having the .mpy, right? Like, this is not actually a real path. I mean, like, you randomly tack an extension onto it, you might find the right file, but let me also do this one again, because this one I think is having the MPY, or not. Let's see. Yeah, this one is having the MPY. And this is in a init, right? This is in module init, which is before we have done any of the rest of that stuff. So wherever we're creating this from, we have two different logics somehow. Module name is what gets passed in as name. Well, okay, so path is not passed in though. Is name different? Name is different. So when we did web workflow, name has MPY. When we do disk workflow, name does not have MPY. Yeah. Yeah, I hear you there. Stuff, because you all are hearing what I say a little bit after I say it, and then by that time I've done more stuff, which has changed. Still kinds of stuff. Why would that be different, right? That part doesn't make any sense to me. Module name. I mean, first of all, it feels awkward that this is just setting module name twice in a row, right? Am I the only one who feels that? But module name equals. So does this make it a tuple, or is this just because it's split across lines? I don't know. I think it's not a tuple, right? Because it doesn't have a comma. I'm pretty sure that's just saying module name equals path split os sep -1. So split the path by the separator, which is like slash, take the last thing. Path came from device metadata. Came from device modules. Came from get device versions. So those get generated differently. Is that right? Device modules web workflow is a dictionary which has a key of bin ASCII, no MPY, but has MPY true, version, compatibility, path. Which does contain the MPY here. Okay. And then same thing here is dev modules. So same here. Key is the same. That's the same. That's the same. That looks the same. That's obviously like a different path, but still has the MPY. Not a tuple, just multi-line parameter list. I didn't know you could do that. That's weird though. Why does it? I guess I don't know what the parentheses do in that case. Pretend you always have to speak to future Tim on the moon with latency. Yeah. Man, if we could predict my mistakes 2 minutes in the future, I'd be doing a good job. So that's weird. I actually expected this to be different, I think, right? Why are we getting one of them... When we do disk workflow, why are we getting the no MPY in the name here? Because name, so modules comes from here, and it has the right name at that point, but then this is saying loop over items, name, device metadata, print, name in loop. Okay. So that's the key of the dictionary, which is the same. Yeah. Key of the dictionary, which is the same. So we're fine there. Not fine, I just mean we're the same there. When working with strings, you can put them inside of parens and break across lines. Huh. I did not know that. I thought you had to use slashes for that or something. What does the slash do? Is it different than this somehow? Yeah, there'll be spaces though, because the space is after foo and bar. But yeah, pretty much. Yep. Okay, so name. So I mean, we must be messing up module name here? Is that true? I do think this is still weird, right? Why would this be doing this twice in a row? Also used for long if else's, like that module name bit. Slash as if it's not implicitly supported as a line break otherwise. Syntax. Okay. Thank you for the knowledge. I did not know that about the parentheses. Module name. So I just did WebWorkflow. Module name does have the MPY. But the disk workflow does not. Okay. So one of these two statements messes it up. Let's say module name after all. Module name after first. See if there's like any difference to these. Interesting. Okay. So you can put Boolean expressions across lines too inside there. Noticed that behavior before, couldn't figure out why I was doing something wasn't expected /n. Not a Python expert, more stumbling through like most people. Yeah, that's stumbling through definitely, I would say, describes my relationship with Python too. I've come a long way in the time that I've used it, but See that used a lot in the newer versions, the black formatter. Okay, so the second one, the second one stripped it. So I did, this is disk workflow, and it was actually correct after the first one, but then it got changed after the second one. I'm gonna do web workflow. I'm gonna have to run to the restroom here in a minute as well. Okay, and in the web workflow, it doesn't change between, so weird. All right, BRB. I'm gonna run to the restroom and then be right back. Okay. Coding Python since V1. I don't consider myself an expert either. V1 Python. I think I was not in the V1 days. Python 2. I think 2.6 maybe might have been the first Python I used. You show me up regularly. I feel like a hazard more than a useful member of the community. Oh, that's definitely not true. So you're definitely a valued member of the community in my eyes, for sure. There are others around, but the dual-centric... Oh, this is to rotary encoders. Let's see. Seen any with a transparent shaft. Being able to do this kind of thing is not a hazard to the community. Yeah, totally agree. It's inspiring to see people's projects on Show and Tell. Yeah, totally agree there. Show and Tell is really nice to be able to check out other stuff that people are doing. Okay, I mean, I'm pretty much tempted to just delete the second one of these, right? Like, it seems wrong that there's two of them anyway, and it was already correct after the first one. So... I mean, that seems like one of the safest deletes of my life, right? There's a comment here. Should probably check for os.sep and use previous version if found. I don't know what that means. Check for os.sep and use previous version. I don't know if that means like previous version of a library, or if that means like previous version of the code. Like maybe this is old way, new way, and this is saying like use the old way in a certain situation. Let's actually read this logic, which I don't think I've done yet. So path.split on the separator, take the last one. So we're splitting on slash or whatever. We're taking the last chunk. So we do that. If not, path ends with sep. So if the path does not end with a slash, then we split on the slash, we take the last thing. Else, if it does end on a slash, oh, I don't know. What is that one? Okay, we take, if it does end on a slash, we take everything except the slash at the end, and then we split on the slash again. We take the last thing. What? Why? Is it just me, or does that not do anything? So it's if we do end with the separator, then we take off the last character, we split on the separator, we take the last one of those chunks, and then we add the separator back in. I mean, I guess we're getting rid of we're getting rid of everything before the second slash from the end, since it ends with it. Okay. Interesting. I think in my head I probably would have, if I had written this, I think I would have written it differently, to where we don't remove the last one, and instead we just take the last two things. What's the else doing there? So, I mean, technically the else is putting the slash back. But why do we need that at all? Okay, yeah, because if we just did this with no if statement at all, then we would get like an empty string when there was a slash on the end. Whoa. That's cool. Is that a real thing? Looks like a lightsaber. Apparently missed the chat for a while. os.sep will respond with with whichever slash it is. Might be a risky, but pathsep and altsep don't work reliably. Space name and other helpers. Seems to be using brute force to make it work with URLs in os.path. Alt step? I don't even know what alt step means. Probably breaks on URLs. Alt step fails on other OSs. Oh, alt sep, not step. This one scared me for a minute, but this one's supposed to be like this because it's the name in the dictionary. Okay. Fancy pushing work in progress commit so I can run it on Windows. Or which branch are you on? Let me make a new branch. I don't want to commit to the branch that I'm working on right now because it's actually Vladek's branch, and I've already, I'll commit when I'm done, but I don't just want to commit a bunch of extra times if I can avoid it. So what I'll do is I'll make one real quick. About to melt some solder. Let's set fails. No pressure, shot in a bit when you're ready. Yeah, I can do that for sure. I mean, let me, I'll drop a link here. And yeah, I don't, ooh, that seems bad, right? Okay. I don't know if that was my internet. I didn't look at the OBS quick enough to know if that was actually a hitch in the whole internet or if yeah, thank you. You got it. Okay. List behaves the same now. List behaves the same now. So, where were we at before we went down that rabbit hole? So I was using list because ultimately I want to use update. And we were trying to print all that stuff that was in the beginning of module, which we have been doing and more at this point. Let me see. So we stepped backwards, our name. Okay, let's just check on some of these. So right now, disk workflow, name in init. So this is the name getting passed to module. It is now the name with MPY. The path then resolves to the local disk path. We get is file. A lot of this was all debugging the difference between file and directory. Okay, so we're finally caught up to here now. Okay. Whew. Okay, so now is there a difference in file and name? Maybe this whole block of code was just accounting for that other bug. I wouldn't be surprised. But maybe not too. I don't know. Okay, so yeah, disk workflow is here. We printed this, and then we printed file and name. Keep wanting to Alt-Tab to get to my terminal, but that's not the right thing to do. All that seems to extract the file name part, split out the extension, and then look at that without having to know that it's a URL or a path. Well, that seems to extract the file name part, split it out, look at it without having to know that it's a URL or path. Yes, I think I would agree with that. And that's ultimately what we want it to do as well as it can, is not worry about the difference. Like basically we want to keep the only thing, to the extent that we can, we want the only thing that worries about the difference between URL versus local file should be in the back end. We can get it to where all of that difference is only in the back end. I think that's where we're trying to aim for. So file was this and name was this. And now let me run the same thing with WebWorkflow, but let me also add the directory stuff. Because here we have is file versus is directory. It's actually backwards? No, it's not. Okay, so are file and name the same? If they are, then we are in a good spot because we can just get rid of this whole if statement, I think. Disk workflow. On disk workflow, file is the MPY name. We should test this on a directory one too. Right now I'm doing MPY one only, but we'll go back and do both. Name is that without MPY. WebWorkflow. Yes. File is MPY. Name is no MPY. This shows up the same. That shows up the same. Yes. I think this whole code was just to fix the bug in the other place. Maybe key, say key instead of name in the dictionary one. Yeah, we should do that. I don't even know where it's at anymore now, though. That one's in one of the loops. Oh no. Assumed library name. I don't know where that code went. Oh, assumed library name being the... I got it. That actually does make sense. Maybe things can make such a key difference in the mental overhead. Yeah. Case in point, I don't even know where I'm looking for that dictionary loop anymore. I think that must be in like either list or maybe find modules. Name in loop. Yeah, there it is. Is key a reserved word? No. Does anything else use key? Well, there's a lot of things using key. Looks like nothing from the outer scope though, so we should be fine here. Okay, so now we're just gonna go try to delete that section. Well, we can't delete it. We can't delete it. We still need it to do its thing. Yeah. We can't really delete it. The fact that it behaves the same now doesn't mean that we can delete it. Like in my head, I was like, okay, it behaves the same, so we could just get rid of the else block or whatever, right? We only need 1/2 because it behaves the same now, but that's not true. Because it gets to the same endpoint, but it takes a different avenue to get there. And we do still need to take that different avenue. When we do have the URL, we need to do the stuff with the URL. When we do have the path, we need to do the stuff with the path. So we already have the backend. I'm thinking maybe we do like try running url.parse on the reference. Doing that is a hard requirement for me just so I can prevent my future self from pain. On the file reference. Try running url.parse on the file reference. This self.file here should still return an object that has a .path that will let you split out the base name. I don't follow, sorry. like that. That should work in both branches. OS dot. File name, URL. URL.parse file name, Beth. Do I need a different one? I think we have this one, right? How do we get name though? To be able to speak. No, you already have the URL. Yeah. From this one, I think. That part's basically the same. That is actually doing self.file here too. Oops. I wonder if they will ever make it to where F strings are the default and you don't have to put F. Or is there like a way I can do that somehow? Probably not with CircuitPython though, I guess. That would be cool if there was a way to opt in to, like, if you don't include the F, it still gets treated as an F string. I think I would turn that on probably. I'm saying is the URL.path is either the path of the URL or the directory / file, the file. URL.path is either the path of the URL or the directory / file of the file. Yeah, I'm sorry. I imagine you are explaining it perfectly reasonably well, but I don't, like, for whatever reason, I don't understand. I have a mental block on a bunch of this code, frankly. I mean, I get what you're saying right there. URL.path is either the path of the URL or to the file or directory. I can say that I think that's true as well, but I don't know exactly what suggestion is, unless it's this, but we're about to try this. Let's see if this works. That looks good on web, at least, so let me try the other one. Nice. I think that's it, right? That's what we want. Yeah. Nice. Okay, I don't know if that's exactly what you were meaning, but this does look like it got us there. Lived in the world of switching between URI parsing and os.path.parsing. I gotcha. I've not, except for on rare occasion, and I probably do it in some of the most abhorrent ways possible, I'm sure. Macro at the top of the file or something, print hijacking. Print hijacking, there you go. Just overwrite print. You have to have a variable and an F string print to work. Oh, really? I didn't know that. Can't just do an F string with no variable. That's weird. Okay, then yeah, I guess that would have to change too. Interesting. Can't do an F string without a variable. Okay. Yeah. Bam. Blammo. That was a satisfying delete, I'm not gonna lie. Okay, let's do some more testing. So list is working. We have about 1 billion extra prints at this point, I think. List is working. Let's see if update works, except for update can only work right now if I use the disk workflow, because right now it's in read-only mode. So what I'm going to do is actually say lib old right there. That's going to have the old bin ASCII inside of it. Old bin ASCII. Okay, and then we'll say Circup update, which should get us a new bin ASCII. So it says got a module, bin ASCII format doesn't match, updating required. Do you want to update? Yep. Updated bin ASCII. Then if we just run it again, it should do nothing. Is it found bin ASCII and it's already updated? Perfect. Okay. Now let's delete lib, copy lib old as lib, and then go back to WebWorkflow with read-only turned off by going to here and bootpy. There we go. Thank you, by the way, everybody in the chat for all of the help. I know it's probably, my lack of understanding is probably frustrating to some extent, but I really, really, really do appreciate the help. Did work out exactly what I was trying to say. Nice. Past Life was build release for Mozilla. Oh, wow. That's cool. List command had 1 bad name returned for Toml. And the MPY things, apart from that, worked. Nice. Toml. Yeah, I don't know about Toml. Is that a library that's in a bundle that's just called Toml like that without anything else in it? Yeah. Yeah. Honestly, this makes me, there's a guy named Ben Askren who's a wrestler. Amateur wrestler. And was an MMA fighter, which is what Ben ASCII makes me think of. It's a pretty funny guy. Okay, that's saved. Push reset. That's going to get us back to read-only for the computer, but writable for the CircuitPy drive, which means we should be able to be going back to WebWorkflow. Of course, that popped up like literally the instant that I clicked. Let's make sure that we are writable just by creating a directory. All right, so that, I'm pretty sure that would have not worked if we were not in writable mode. That's the wrong thing. Circup. Okay, so we're gonna want to have, let me actually just go back to here. Then we just say update there. Yes, we got the exact same thing so far, which is perfect. Exactly what we want. Updated, and if we just run it again, then we get nothing new again. Awesome. All right, we are good there. Let me do it on one that is not a, let's do it on one that's a folder instead of an MPY file. So I'm also just gonna re-edit my bootpy. I should hook this up to a button. I don't have a button plugged in except for the boot button, which is already kind of in use. So we shall do this again. Save this, reset. More bad ones that gave a trailing slash. It's just called Toml. Files worked, folders didn't. Okay, we should find that here in a second then. Well, if it's not Windows only, in which case I won't find it directly, but now I know about it because you told me. Thinking that the bug you just fixed will solve for folders too. Because it's not using hack smell if else. Yeah, that could be. I also don't remember, I'll push again, I don't remember exactly what, I don't know what we've changed since move. Let me just say simplify. Push again if you want to try. Okay, so then I did reset, so we want to go here. We want to go to libnot. And we should be able to just do like any of these. No idea. There's like a better choice. If any of them are a better choice than any others. Those are Python files. That says zeros. Okay, that's probably not the best choice then. This is empty though. So this is auto. It's empty. No errors. Let's try that. That's not good. Sorry if that was loud. All right, I got to run through the rest of them again. Also, this doesn't have a name for some reason. That definitely did not work. Okay. Had a thought. I think maybe we need that inner if, right? We had the outer if that was effectively doing if it's web workflow or disk workflow. But the truth is, I think we had an inner if as well. Surprised they called the drive a scheme. On Windows must be a simple colon check to support Gopher. Thought it was empty unless it passed in file. The pattern E colon is older than Windows. Really? Did not know that. That was a Windows thing. We had that inner if, which I have now deleted. See, because here we had this. Okay, so when it's a directory, we actually want file to be none, and then we need to do path. Wait, why does this... Okay, in the old version of this, WebWorkflow directory sets file and name, which is what everything else does as well. But disk workflow directory sets file and path. Why not file and name? Either way, though, we still need the different logic for directory. Why was that doing that? It overrode it. So name gets set at the beginning. Path gets set at the beginning. File now gets set at the beginning. Name actually gets replaced. So in the disk workflow, why did it need to overwrite the path? That might have been fixing the bug that we fixed a minute ago. But why does it not set the name? I guess because it was just the same, I suppose. No. File. What is file? File has py in it. When it was that. Folder there. The name key would be the base name of the path. File's blank, so I do need to print this actually. Finish that off. Okay, URL path. URL path. And then URL path. And URL path there. Okay, so we can just do ends with path sep, right? And then if it ends with the path sep, we want to set file to none and we want to set name to be correct, which will be tricky because right now name is getting set from file. We could fix that by using this here. That would then make name correct. And then file, we need to make it none. That's what it was doing before. So basically, like, if url.path.ends with os.sep, then else this none. I would rather you look for the presence of MPY or pi. What is the correct thing? Is there a correct thing to use? I thought os.sep was like literally the solution to that problem, not a problematic thing. Like, is there a correct one of these to use? I mean, I guess we can do... The thing that scares me about that is, like, eventually this might install other kinds of files, right? Like, isn't there a bundle with font files now? And those font files, they're not py or mpy, I don't think, are they? I don't know how that works. I don't know, it just feels very limiting to check for specifically those two instead of, like, is it a directory? Which is signified by that. I fear that not working on certain files. Like in PyCamera, there's a bin file. I mean, you wouldn't call that directly, I guess. Now with fonts in a bundle. Is there like a better version of os.sep? I thought that was the solution. Is this better? PathSep? Like Mac is going to get wrecked by that. os.path.sep. Is path.sep better? Reason is on URLs we'll be looking at I don't know. That's a good question though, I guess. So, well, it's url.path. So actually, isn't this is the appropriate place? Isn't this actually the appropriate place to just hard code a string / right? A URL should always be a /. Where did URL come from? Because URL is URL parse. Well, this should make it so it always has a /, right? Feels like it would. URL won't be if it's a single module file. Not sure what that means. URL won't be. So for single module, so like it's that URL.path. URL.path. Won't have a trailing slash if it's a single module file. Oh, yeah, no, but that's what we're looking for, I think. Got up though. I think I don't know what it will do on Windows, I guess. One part of that I don't know, because we're doing URL parse self.path. My assumption is that this will turn it into always a URL with always /. But my assumption is also self.path. Well, that's actually from URL join. Oh, well, no, but it's from path join here. Okay, so I'm not sure. I think self.path might end up with the other slash in it on Windows. And then I don't know, like I kind of feel like this will turn it into a URL and make it /. In which case that will be correct. So those two are working now. IO, so this was with disk workflow. Let's let it, are we on writable? What are we on right now? BootPy. Let me see the BootPy, please. BootPy. Who's got a BootPy? Yes, thank you. Okay, we are on writable to the computer. So let's run it once with update. Make sure that it works. Disk workflow update. Found one module, Adafruit IO. Yes. Uh-oh. Name is wrong. This needs to be filled in, I think. Let me make sure this does the same thing. Oh, it didn't. Did it just delete Adafruit IO? I don't trust that. That is not good. I have no idea what it just did, but somehow we just ended up with everything getting pasted back inside of Adafruit IO. It's needless to say, not particularly correct. Okay. I'm pretty sure we want name to be filled in right there. That's blank there too, though. I don't know anymore. Okay, WebWorkflow list does have file none and name Adafruit.io with the old code. The old code. WebWorkflow, file none, name Adafruit.io. Old code, disk workflow doesn't work currently. There was a problem, module has no file. New code, disk workflow, file none, name blank. New code, web workflow, file none, name blank. I'm pretty sure we want name to be the name. We need to figure out why that doesn't work. So that is doing path.basename of url.path. But I guess that's blank. OPB is blank. I'm not a very big fan of path separators right now. So this can be in here. because that only works half the time anyway. And when file is none, we need to do this differently. So url.path, gosh, it's really annoying not being able to use the slash. I mean, I'm still on URL, so I can still use the / hard-coded. Which means I think -2, because I think -1 will be empty because the last one is a slash, right? Oopsie doodles. Yeah, -2. Okay. It worked this way too, I think, right? Yeah, there we go. Okay. I have no idea if that's going to work on Windows. Probably not with my luck, if I'm honest, but... See why original code was sniffing the scheme for HTTP. Item sub slap and HTTP stream on sub. Yeah. All right, that should update now. So if I go Circup update, hopefully we won't get that weird thing. Maybe that thing, so I thought that froze. Maybe it didn't actually freeze, but maybe it was like copying so many things that it was taking a while. Either way, it was doing the wrong thing for sure. That looks good. So now update again, should do nothing. Ambalamba. Okay, I'm gonna reset. We're in lib. We're gonna delete. Let's do both of these. Let's hit them with the old 2 for 2 libraries for the price of 1. $3.99 times 2. Buy one, get one free. Okay, now we want to go back to, oh, I was not running the newest one of this. All right, save that. I don't know what I changed. I think I only just deleted prints, honestly, though. So let's save that. Let's go to the boot py. Put that back, save that, reset. Place your hard-coded slash with a variable that's set based on the environment. Huh? Yeah, we'll get there eventually. I think that's a problem with just needing timeouts. I saw about you saying it gets frozen. Frankly, though, if I'm really honest about it, if I'm really honest about it, if it just doesn't support uninstalling 2 things in a list, like, I don't feel like that should be a showstopper. But I still don't make the decision all the way. So it's like, if it is a showstopper, then it's a showstopper. But frankly, my recommendation is like, do them individually in that case, which is not the best recommendation, but it's like either that or we don't have access to WebWorkflow, which does not feel like it's worth the trade-off in my mind. But hopefully it will just work. That would be ideal if it would just work. Did I reset? I don't know if I reset, so I'm gonna reset again. Timeouts, I do think, are needed, though. Pretty much everywhere in the web backend where we have request.anything, request.post or get or anything, I'm pretty sure all of those need to have timeout.equals, not timeout.equals, but timeout equals 5 or 10 or whatever we want it to, because if we don't have that timeout, it hangs forever. It's allowed to hang forever if the server doesn't respond, which is what I think I observed. I fixed one of them, I think, by adding a timeout, but I also did not try the specific thing that you did with the uninstall multiples, and what I was doing, I was not like consistently getting that error, so I don't know if it actually fixed it or not, but that's what I think it was. So if you want to test that, I would say maybe try adding timeout equals like 10 or 5 to whichever HTTP post or delete, probably a delete, that gets sent by uninstall. Oh, I have a bad feeling about this. I didn't paste those 2 libraries, did I? Should have been paying closer attention. I did. Okay. Hopefully I pasted the right 2. Those are the old ones, right? Hopefully. Okay. Circup list. WebWorkflow. Ooh. Okay. File is file, name has none. Good to go there. File is none, name is that. Good to go. So it knows that both of those want to get updated. So then we get each of these one by one. Bin ASCII, yes. Adafruit.io, yes. File path to create, updated. All right, that succeeded. All of that succeeded. I didn't even, honestly, I don't even think I knew you were allowed to do uninstall in a list. Or install. Can you do install in a list? Circup, oh, let me do it this way. Install, Adafruit, display, text, Adafruit, image load. I don't think I knew that was supported. Does pip do that? Have I ever done that with pip? So apt I know does. Apt I've definitely done that before. Like apt install something space something. Definitely done that. I'm trying to think. I don't think I have with pip either. Probably is supported, I guess. So install worked, which is a good sign. I added that timeout, I think, to install, but I'm not sure. So now I should have more things. Default timeout 300 seconds. That's very long. Default for requests over TCP. I think default is actually might not have one at all in requests. I was reading this long thread in requests somewhere about the default being none and therefore it basically allowing to hang forever. And you're essentially encouraged to like use timeout equals pretty much everywhere you use requests. To which I was kind of like, why is the default none then? But I don't know. So let me try uninstall like 2 of these. Let's do image load and bin ASCII. Let me just do it this way though. Okay. Yeah, mine succeeded actually on both of those. It had me in the first half there, though, I'm not gonna lie, right? Somewhere right around in here, it definitely paused in a way that made it look like it was gonna get stuck. It actually did complete. I have not done that fix still, though, so I think the truth is we do still need all of those things. Let me switch up the music here. Something from click command line parsing. Stream support, I guess, needs infinite timeout. Waiting for a process to complete. What's the timeout of 0 mean for the audience here? I'm not sure. That's a good question. Timeout of 0. I don't know for sure. Main thing I remember reading about it, and like just because I remember reading it about it doesn't mean it's actually the truth either all the way. I might not even remember it correctly, but the thing I think I remember reading about it was that all the requests functions by default have no, they just don't have a default timeout, and therefore they're allowed to wait forever. I don't know if that is the same behavior as 0 or if that is the same behavior as the value of none. Those parts of it I don't really know. Let me push. Oh, I have this big chunk still. That's all right. Fix name. This will say 0 equals no timeout, but in reality it ends up waiting forever. Came up in the Atari library. Yeah, I don't, and unfortunately, there's some possible chance it's different in different places. So the one I'm thinking of, the one I'm talking about or referring to with everything I'm saying here is with requests. And even to be more specific and potentially then making it different is I'm talking about CPython requests, which like hopefully behaves the same as ours. But I don't know for sure, and I do know the one I was reading about was CPython, not CircuitPython. Okay, I think all that stuff is in the web backend. Should pretty much all be in the web backend. It should be all like request dot something, I think, right? Oh wait, I did a session. Oh, but the session is for something different. Max retries. The session is for retries. I don't know if you can put a timeout on the session. Oh, all the rest of my stuff is going to be session dot. There we go. Let me find the one that I actually did. I did timeout 10. Let's just do 10 everywhere. I think we have a default timeout, but 0 means until you get your response for 60 seconds /default, although in another context it meant immediately return and update all backend things with any new info. But don't block waiting for that new info, only accept if it's received. Yeah. Unfortunately, we got some little bit different behaviors in different places. Sometimes just as a result of the underlying hardware, like ESP32 SPI has got a couple of different things that made it different, and it had its own socket that kind of was built around it more directly for a while. I should have copied the comma. Let me do this. Oops. What is it doing this? I don't, is that necessary? I'm not sure if that's necessary. Oops. All right, I think that is all of them. So now everywhere where we make a request has a timeout of 10 and has a max retries of 5. So it should not do that hang forever, literally forever. Although if it's 10 seconds, times 5 retries, that is still 50 seconds, which is quite a while. Theoretically, we could lower this, but... So the timeout on the web backend, so we can overload it through command line. Use self.timeout everywhere. Okay. Let me make sure that's actually working before I just do the rest of them. Okay, it still seemed to work. Let me do an uninstall. Yeah, for sure. All right, both of those uninstalled. So list and update we're working. Let's get back to USB. Reset. So let's make sure that it can install and uninstall like 2 modules at a time on the disk workflow. Nice. Install. Cool. Seems like that did fine. This is how request in CPython handles timeout now to have the connect and read work differently. If you specify a single value in the timeout, like r equals, so if in request.get timeout equals 5, the value will be applied to both the connect and the read timeouts. Specify a tuple. See, that's interesting. Yeah, I didn't even know there was the ability to use a tuple. So if you want a different connect timeout from a read timeout, I didn't even know that was possible. Okay, I think we are there. We have about 1 billion extra prints right now. Surely I would guess we're probably not passing pre-commit. But I think what I'll do is run a quick pre-commit. Check for pilot stuff, and if there's just stuff. I don't know why I created a temp.py. Old version of something, I guess, or some files I was copying around. All right, I'm going to commit this version. It still has all those prints. It still has that gigantic commented out section. So there is still a little bit of cleanup to do. but I think that it is functional. Tyeth or anybody else who is on Windows or even Mac especially would be appreciated too. If anybody who's watching this is on any platform, frankly, even more Linux testers would be greatly appreciated too. So if anyone watching this is interested and willing to do some extra testing on this, definitely appreciated. If you do, feel free to leave comments on the pull request that's on the Circup repo. I'm about to push it right now, so you'll be able to try the latest version. And I believe the only stuff that's left to do is non-functional stuff, like getting rid of prints and comments. So theoretically, the functionality of this version, as long as there are no major bugs found, I think is set. So if anyone finds something that doesn't work, leave a comment on there. Hard to describe this, I guess. We did a bunch of stuff. We did timeouts on all requests. And then we also did what? Oh, that's just format. Okay, it's easy to describe actually. So we'll just say code format. Code format. All right. Yep. Thank you, Paulus K, as well as everybody for watching. I'll give it a poke. Yep, I appreciate it. Any and all testing, greatly appreciated. I will leave you with perhaps a sneak peek or maybe just gauge interest in this, which is what I was going to do if we got this done a bit earlier today. On 225, I think we are, right? I never did set up the camera earlier because there wasn't really much to see, but I'll set it up real quick to give you the cliffhanger for next time, which is what I think I'll work on next time I stream, which is M5 stack card pewter. There's a PR in the core to add this to the core. I got it loaded up. It took a little bit of finagling around, but I got it loaded up. The next thing I want to work on, though, is the matrix for the keys. The way the key matrix is set up, it's an 8x7 matrix, but the 8 pins are actually driven by 3 pins on a shift register. So it needs to like use those 3 pins in order to make the 8 permutations while it's doing its scanning. And I got, I think, the most basic version of reading those inputs, those high-low inputs, working. I would like to make a library that encompasses that and translates it to the actual keys that are there, and hopefully tries to mimic the keypad API as much as I can, because eventually this might get added to keypad to have it be able to handle that. But anyway, that will be for another day. If you are interested in that, feel free to let me know or drop a line or just come back next time whenever I pop the stream back on. What did we miss? Not much. I'm not doing anything with this right now. I was just talking about that device though. The way the keypad works is the next thing I want to work on stream, I think, is mapping out that keypad, because it uses 3 pins and a shift register in order to cover 8 rows of a key matrix, basically. So it's got like a very compact, I guess, amount of pins that it's able to use. But yeah, I would thought this device looked really cool. It's got a battery inside there. It's got Lego Technic holes, so you can use Technic pins to connect it to something. All kinds of cool stuff on there. So, alrighty. I hope everyone has a good day, a good rest of your weekend. Thanks for all of the help from folks in the chat. Thanks for hanging out. I will catch you all later.